Hello and welcome to the Our Metroidvania podcast. This is Cauldrath from the Our Metroidvania subreddit and Discord.
Hi, this is Master. I'm also from there.
Hi, I'm Atcero, and I'm the local playtester.
And today we are, for some reason, playing through my practice Metroidvania, which is absolutely beautiful.
Right. I'm gonna say right now, I'm not laughing because it's bad. I'm just.
It's the B movie of assets.
uh,
All of the backgrounds are procedurally generated.
are they
Whoa.
actually?
Yes.
You can
They're all
market
made.
it.
Yeah, they're all made with Perlin noise. Like the tiles are like, I set them like in the tile editor poorly. Like I basically just like carved out just enough space that you can
Oh
get
no.
through.
Did I just die? Cauldrath, I
Did
found a
you?
Oh,
bug.
oh man. I don't think anyone's ever done that before.
What do you mean?
I
That is
literally
like.
have to add one platform and it'll fix it.
How do I restart? Do I have to exit and go
uh,
back in?
I think, yeah, you have to alt F4.
Oh, hey, I found a bug in your game.
It's not a bug so much as a design oversight.
Oh, jeez. Oh, wait. Let me, do this. I think this needs to be reset transformation?
What?
Okay. I needed to have it properly. Find it.
Okay.
Okay, so let's not go up there this time.
So that's one feature that is important in a Metroidvania is to make sure that you do not soft lock the player.
Yep. Oh. That was weird side-scrolling. Huh.
Oh yeah, I had a like custom camera thing where um it tries to like if you're going faster then it tries to like keep up with you and like give you more of the screen in the direction you're going. But it also has some things where like certain areas it'll try to lock it into a space so that you'll like just see the important parts of the screen.
Okay. Also, why does your place have so much blood? Why is there just blood everywhere? Oh
I was
god,
gonna
this is
ask the
boss.
same thing.
It's environmental storytelling.
Ow.
I
What the?
so like I said that it's procedurally generated. It's set so that it puts more blood splatters the closer you are to the boss.
Oh, that's
Oh.
fun.
Guessing I just killed that one.
Yeah, when they stop showing up.
Hey, I killed the first boss. I did it!
Yeah,
What do I get?
projectiles are quite slow.
You can now jump once
Yeah.
in midair. Do I regain health?
So the only way you can get back health is by going to a save point.
Okay.
But it also auto saves when
Okay.
you yeah, I think when you beat a boss or when you get well now you
Oh.
just went back to the save point.
Oh, that's the save point. Oh, the S.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But
Okay.
but yeah, so it auto saves so you still have your double go. Which is something that I really like when games do that. So I did it in this one. It's not too hard to add that kind of autosave.
Yep.
Oh, there's
Ow.
a severe thunderstorm, in my area.
Oh, good.
Well, if you lose power. Ow, what? The fucking checker boxes are bad?
They're spike boxes.
Oh, what the fuck? What? Is this a boss?
Yes,
Is this the second boss?
that's the second boss.
Already?
Yeah.
Oh god, you motherfucking asshole. Alright, get over here. Oh, you run away from me! Oh! Yeah, you motherfucker, get over here. I don't know if I've even gotten hit by you.
Oh, you actually hit him once.
Oh yeah, I already hit him once.
You can tell how many times you've hit him by how many buzzsaws there are.
Ow.
I like your
My mic
buzzsaw.
is in the way, holy shit. Fucker! Yeah, get Get some.
You actually beat the boss like this, I'm going to be very impressed.
What do you mean? This is how I beat every boss! I tank it until it works! Ow. Why did it zoom in?
There's something you're supposed to do.
I'm assuming reflect something. But you know what? That's too much work. Oh, I died. Oh, time to try again.
Well, you
Just wanna explore and
accidentally
find
did the
upgrades.
you accidentally did the thing once.
Was it, reflect it back, I'm guessing, the projectile?
No,
Oh, no?
I'm not gonna spoil what it is.
Oh, then I'm gonna just
It
brute
should
force
be.
it!
I was hoping that the UI would make it obvious, but apparently it did not.
Oh, that. The lock's in my place?
No.
I don't know what that does. Oh, I see what it did. Okay. Smart. Okay,
Yeah,
that zoomed in enough.
I didn't think that you could actually hit him while the room was at full size.
Wait, I think I broke it. Oh. Oh, this is... Oh, it resets every time?
Yep.
Ugh.
That's fun.
Yep. Ow. Ow.
So yeah, I decided that the first boss is supposed to feel pretty claustrophobic,
Ow.
since it's that wall thing, and so I wanted to kind of go in the opposite direction with this one, where it feels like everything's too big and the boss is trying to get away from you instead of constantly coming towards you. So yeah.
I want enemies running away from me to be a feature in more Metroidvanias.
Actually, from a design standpoint, if you wanted to, okay. If you had Iga's team for Symphony of the Night to convey this boss, let's say you had just the best shit for that, having,
Yeah, this would be
gears that would, actually shrink it.
yeah.
Yeah, and, some gears
Like-
would be, walled off or whatever.
You can notice that the switches actually get thinner, and it's because all I did was just shrink I applied a scale along the x-axis to make the
Yeah.
room smaller, and it applies to everything in it, including the switches.
Is Iga's team the best team for anything?
I'm just saying for art, Symphony of the Night style.
Yeah.
Not,
But yeah,
the best.
it would be cool if the switches actually looked like switches, and then when you did it, showed the walls coming in, and that had gears and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Ow.
I'm envisioning this thing as a lightning elemental type thing, and it actually shoots a lightning bolt at you instead of just a really fast shot.
Sorry, all I can think of is Krakow from fucking Kirby. The cloud, the lightning cloud. The spikes
Oh, that's
in
a
the
cute
eye.
cloud.
I love that cloud. He's such a dick. Okay, features that we would like to see in Metroidvanias. Oh, I like how he tries to target you too.
Yeah, he leads you, but locks on right before he fires. But there's been a lot of games where especially with lasers, where the things don't really you don't get any indicator of that you're about to get lasered. And so I put this beam indicator in so that you know where they're going to shoot.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I tried to do for conveyance was that if the switch is off screen, you can see that it does that little pop out camera thing. So that's both supposed to let you know where it is if it's off screen, and also let you know that it's important.
I completely ignored it.
Sometimes the conveyance things that you attempt don't work.
Fucker. Get back.
But also, one of the things that I like in boss designs is when there's always something to do instead of like just taking turn type bosses, where it's like boss does a thing, you dodge the thing, and now it's your turn to hit him, and then it just goes back and forth like that. And doesn't feel very dynamic.
How long does the weapon hitbox remain active?
As long as it's out there visually.
Okay, it just seemed like it's overlapped an awful lot with the boss and not hit it.
I think that. Oh yeah, it's only vulnerable when it's yellow.
I see.
Ow.
So it's like if I was actually animating it, it would be like this thing where it like flew across the screen and then like slammed into the wall and then like was off balance for a little bit.
I see.
But instead, I'm just like, this is yellow, and then red is where it gets hit, and blue is when it's. Or let's see,
Ow.
blue is when it's dashing.
Oh yeah, I have a dash. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, that's one thing that I noticed is like.
Oh, it's not an air dash. Sad days.
Yeah. But it's Mega Man X style, so you can do dash jumps.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Where else can you explore Atcero?
I don't know. I want to kill the boss.
Yeah. Currently, there is nowhere else to go. It does
Oh.
open up a bit. Let's see. I think the next thing power up is also linear, but then I think after that you get two different options. But this is the last like actual enemy. After that, it's basically just go around picking up power ups because I haven't actually implemented anything
Oh.
beyond that.
Mechanics we want in Metroidvanias. I want decent puzzles or riddles.
More triple jumps. They are stupid fun.
Oh yeah.
Hey!
I want more
Air
Yeah.
dash!
double
Hey,
jumps
air
that aren't
dash!
just the generic double jump and instead have some sort of unique aspect to them.
Iframe dash. Excuse me,
So
sir.
so it's not full iframes. It's just specifically
Oh, like
like
Metroid Dread kind of style?
it's actually based on the Mega Man X5 air dash, where like you can. So like projectiles will still hit you, like attacks will still hit you, but it turns out collision damage.
Hmm. What's this? Don't stab. Oh. Come on. What? Cauldrath, did you lie to me?
Did you read the entire thing?
I did not.
I didn't think you did. So
Oh, I have to go up there and do it.
yeah. So this is actually kind of based on the speed booster because
Oh.
so if you fall long enough while doing it, then it does an explosion at the end,
I
and then
saw
that can
that,
get you.
yeah.
So that it's kind of inspired by the speed booster, and that you need to like have enough space to do the thing.
Oh.
So you have to figure out how to do that, and it also like will keep doing the like it'll maintain the fall even if you do like a air dash. I don't think I actually wind up taking advantage of it in like the level design yet, but like you could have a puzzle where you have to figure out like a route through. This is just ripped off from Mega Man X6.
I do like the where the high jump, you can cling to the ceiling and kind of dodge after that, like dash after it. That's nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
That's a feature I'd like.
Yeah.
Then again, not a lot of games just have a executable dash in the air anymore. Or not dash, high jump. Either you have to do something fancy or you play a Castlevania.
Oh yeah, Castlevania basically just lets you just spam the high jump
I love
like
it.
even in midair.
I mean, did any games other than Castlevania let you do that? Because you said games don't do that anymore. I don't remember any other games that did it though.
I'm thinking of Metroid, but Metroid just had the high jump, like not a super high jump. Oh no, I have to do.
I mean, you have the space jumping. But even that is kind of, you can't just spam the button and it works.
Yeah.
Now destroy projectiles and attacks for. Ah, I see. Yeah. I got the red missile.
Kinda, yeah.
Come on!
This I definitely should have done some better conveyance for, where I like indicated that you have a charge still.
Yeah. I get ya.
And this is another thing where it's like I could technically put in some puzzles that are cool where you like have to go pick up the energy from somewhere and then like keep transferring it as you go along.
Yeah.
Maybe pick up different kinds of energy.
I like how there's still a little pop-up for the Switch.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Oh, what? Yeah, that should have been gone. Just finding all sorts of bugs.
I'm very good at finding bugs. You want me to playtest a game? I will find the bugs, and I will find the
I'm even better at finding bugs.
I found a lot in Loyal's game, actually, if I'm gonna be honest. Probably way too many. Was this the last upgrade, then?
Let's see. I think, yeah, it might be. Or no, there's another one after that.
Okay.
Or yeah, you don't have. There's one that you don't have.
Oh no! This is Metroid.
Yeah.
Now, if I've ever played Metroid... Fuck. Motherfuckers. How dare you exist?
And on the bright side, if you die, then you'll still have all your stuff.
My brother in Christ, what?
You don't even need to jump on the third one, right? You can just do your high jump out.
There we go.
Maybe.
If I time it correctly, which I'm bad at, I think I know where the last one is, too.
Yeah. And then, so beating the game is when you get in these, the top of the map at the center, like where all those like checkered spikes are.
Oh yeah, I could probably go over there right now. Oh yeah, there's those right there. Except I can't get... Oh yeah, I can.
I think that might just be a shortcut, though.
Worth it. Ah! So some features I would like to see in Metroidvania. Better conveyance of saves. I do like when a game puts a little, like, lantern, let's say, outside, so you know, oh hey, save right here. I like that.
I agree.
I like
I
that.
think it's important that games do that when you're limited to, rooms,
Yeah.
exits to the rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's a
Because-
Castlevania... Oh, keep going.
Then
Yeah.
you don't feel like you have to poke your head into every single room necessarily to know if there's something there or not. If the important things are told to you without having to check.
What is this?
Your safe
So-
stations, but also
Oh.
like other
So-
things can be useful.
So yeah, if you get up there. Oh, okay.
I don't have the last upgrade, though.
No, you don't. I apparently did not make that tall enough.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to do that?
No.
What's the last upgrade?
A wall jump.
Oh, that sucks. Game beaten!
Better go
Record
find the wall
time!
jump.
That took me 20 minutes. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Can't get
jeez.
down though.
No, oh, there we go.
Yeah, I guess
I'm sorry.
that's all right.
I heard 40 minutes!
Yeah. Okay, so Loyal played this game and he had not beaten the second boss by the end of 33 minutes. So
I'm not even that good at games. Well, I've never beaten Loyal's game yet. I probably should go back and do that too at some point. I gotta finish music.
Oh, I thought we
Alright.
were gonna do Loyal's game
Huh?
after this one.
I didn't ask. Should I ask him quick?
Oh yeah, I guess you should, or we should
Yeah.
ask.
I don't want to just do his game. Here, let me do a... yeah, that'll work. No, it won't work. Alright, so let's do switching. Let's message him quick. I don't know if he's awake. Probably not.
Where's he? He lives somewhere where he's sleeping, I believe.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Damn it. Well, it's either this or art. Should I go to art?
yeah, let's do it.
Alright,
Or
I'm
you
gonna
can-
need all your PNGs though, so I'm gonna start downloading. So I know a rough idea of how big all your stuff is.
Oh, you're gonna make art for
Yes!
this game?
We're doing
Okay.
your game! Let me...
Make
I mean,
some
the thing
cool
that needs art
beards.
the most is the second boss.
I think your character, in my opinion,
No.
in my not so professional opinion, I always feel like you start with the main character.
The character's fine. He's got animations and stuff. You should do the second boss. He's just a cube.
Here, can I just download the whole assets folder? I should be able to.
Yeah.
How do I do that?
Oh,
I'm terrible at GitHub. Oh,
let's
right
see.
here. Code, pull requests, history? That's not what I want. Actually, yeah, no, wait. I could just pull the whole thing. Yeah. Download zip. Here we go. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Alright. Extract. Extract.
Oh, you called them zoomers. The
Yes.
freezable thing.
So,
Yep.
boss... Which one is it? Oh yeah, you never implemented the giant, did you?
Oh, no. There's actually another scene that has that in it, but I didn't really, do the whole thing, so I didn't set it as the main scene.
Let's see, so this is in downloads, practice, assets, what's this one's called?
What's it called?
Zoom. Boss, boss eye, cling ceiling, dash, down stab, explosion, eye boss claw, giant. Did you not have a sprite for this one?
For the second boss?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. It's just literally a square.
Eh. How
So,
big,
yeah,
roughly, do you know?
It wouldn't actually matter. Like right now it doesn't have any, it's not loading a sprite, so you could make it any size you want.
Okay. I didn't add an art one. So let me do window capture. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess the thing is, if you do something like literally anything else, like anything that has an existing PNG, I could just upload that new PNG and it would just drop into place.
Yeah. Here, let me turn off display capture. Let me just do fit to screen. There we go. It is loaded in. Well, the shot isn't bad.
Yeah, it's pretty basic.
But
The quickest thing I would probably do is just erasing the least visible bits on the edges to make it look crisper.
well, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna load in a palette. We're gonna load in the Splendor palette.
So I guess we're having a tutorial now on how to do proper sprite work.
Oh, this is not proper. I never learned proper sprite work, if I'm gonna be honest.
Well, I clearly didn't either, so.
Popcat has asked, what are they looking at? You are looking at a
You're
projectile.
looking at art because I played Cauldrath's game and it's good. Just needs a little bit on the art department.
It needs a lot in a lot of departments.
Maybe it needs an orange center.
I should flip these colors around. 1 second. There we go. I mean, if you want to go this bit size, this would, in my opinion-ish. Ooh, jeez. Yeah, you did have some transparency effects, didn't you?
Yep. I guess you didn't have a lot of transparency in like retro games,
No.
so they didn't have the softened edges. Or I guess the anti-aliasing type effects.
No. That, however, I do like. That.
Yeah,
I
the
need to
size
flip
of
'em.
the size doesn't give you a lot of room to play around in.
Well, that's okay. We need to get back on topic.
Yeah. So yeah, so the main topic that, for anyone coming in now is features we'd like to see in a Metroidvania.
I would like to see upgrades serve multiple purposes more often.
Yeah, that's something that what was it? Superland was really heavily focused on. Like that was one of the things the developers were like, we absolutely need to get this right. And
Hey,
I
thanks
think
for
they
the
did a
follow,
good job.
Cat. Sorry. That was loud.
That's all right.
What
But
was that?
Oh, you guys can't hear it. The follower
No.
notification. But Superland.
yeah, so yeah, I think they had a rule that was like at least every single power up has to have at least 4 functions. Some of them were like a little iffy, like there was a magnet and one of the functions was you can erase a hard drive with it.
No, that's funny.
Yeah, yeah, for I feel like the way they did it though is that they just had a bunch of different environmental things and oh, you're actually making an animation?
Yeah.
I don't think it had an animation
No,
in
it didn't.
there.
But now it
So,
does.
man, you're just giving me work.
I'm sorry. It's like I see something and it's like, it kind of needs an animation. I mean, it's
Like,
Yeah, interesting. Do you consider an obscure environmental interaction that only works because, the door that was placed down is made to work with this, rather than this is something that you can actually use in different situations? Like, is the
yeah,
situation just one object that's placed down in one place, or is the situation something that's applicable in several instances?
yeah. So like, I had the whole like distinction between abilities and keys, and it seems like even when you get a thing, sometimes you like that thing has multiple things it does, and some of those things are just be a key.
I
So
mean,
like
that's fine.
in yeah, so like in Metroid, like the missiles, they are a weapon, but they're also just a key for the red doors. It doesn't really feel like an ability when you're opening the red doors.
If something already functions as an ability in several ways, but then it also opens a door somewhere, I mean, I think it's fine. It's not a problem. Like, you can do 3 other things with the magnet, but then the 4th thing is just, you can you can interact with this one object. I don't think that's bad.
Yeah, I just feel like adding those additional like key-ish features doesn't really add as much to the game unless like the erase a hard drive thing is like kind of funny that is there, but it doesn't like feel like a good gameplay thing.
I mean, I don't think it doesn't detract from the experience having one-off uses for random items. I don't think, at least.
Yeah, but just
But
because something doesn't detract from the experience doesn't mean it adds to it. So it's like whether you're
right.
doing additive or subtractive design.
This is true. And if your goal is to add 4 different uses of something, it should be that you stick with things that do add to the experience.
Yeah.
Oh no, are you making a new protagonist?
I'm attempting to. Why did you do
Oh,
16 by 16,
I
my guy? Almost every single NES Pro tag is, shockingly enough, more on the 28 range. Or 32.
don't think I can handle this emotionally. I'm just so attached to Cauldrath's protagonist as he is.
Well, I
This
have the
isn't
new.
replacing.
My avatar is the new game's protagonist, so like you didn't seem particularly upset when I switched to that one.
No, but it's like it's his brother, you know?
Yes.
Why did you have to do
I
Cauldrath.
mean,
Had to make him 16 by 16.
yeah.
Have mercy on my soul.
What's wrong with 16 by 16?
No NES Pro tag is 16 by 16, except, like, very few. Maybe Kirby? Maybe 16 by 16? Well, like, Castlevania, I want to say Simon is, like, 28 plus pixels high? Maybe he's 18.
Oh. Such a shame that the height of Cauldrath's protagonist is not the same as Simon from Castlevania.
No, it's not
Can't believe
just
we didn't think of it.
Simon. It's almost every NES Pro tag is on the bigger side. Let me check. I gotta.
Well, I mean, is Cauldrath's game NES themed, or does it just happen to
No, I'm
use
just saying he's
20 sprites?
using the 8-bit. Used an 8x8. He's used a 16 by 16. Even if he unconsciously did it, he is actually adhering to NES sprite limits. Funnily enough.
That's why I had the transparency on the PNGs.
Yes, obviously. Every NES game has transparency. I was gonna try something. Did I put it in graphic scale? I did. God damn it. I was gonna check my redraw to see how big I made Simon. Times 4, so what's 150 divided by 4?
160 divided by 4
30
is
or
140.
150.
So that's
37-ish.
yeah. That doesn't. That
Here.
isn't a nice round number.
No, it is not. Ah, because it's by 5.
Oh, so then
Yeah,
it's
he's 30. He's 30 bits tall. 30 little bitties.
I mean, if you're gonna like add animations, then I'm gonna have to redo this anyway. So you might as well just make it whatever size you want.
We're gonna make a cool looking thing here. I mean, are you actually gonna add these in if I do redo the sizes? And the animation?
I guess I could, yeah.
You don't sound it. If you don't want to, I'm not gonna say do it.
Like the entire point of this project was to just like get some practice in and be done with it, and then switch to something that's like I have that other game that I'm working on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ostensibly.
If you're going to make art, you should do it for that game, you know, not the one he's no longer working on.
But if you keep the exact same sizes and don't add more animations, then I can just directly replace the old art, just drop it in and recompile.
Oh, fun.
This these colors in the palette look suspiciously familiar.
It is a palette I use all the time. I don't know. It's called AAP Splendor 128. I think it's built into A-Sprite. This is what I use. For a lot of things.
I'm just saying that the character it looks like you're taking your the character that you drew and now you're making my protagonist look like that.
Oh, yeah, I am using those colors. Actually, that one I made that custom. That was a custom colors palette for mine. I am attracted to blue. Don't judge me. Fine. Also,
I mean,
your original was blue.
yeah, it was like the blue list blue, and now you've got these like pastels in there. I'm not saying that it's wrong for you to do that, but it looks a little familiar.
Fine, you're getting a hood then.
So yeah,
Batman.
you're just straight up. You're just straight up.
No, it's
Yes,
Batman.
this is okay, right?
I hate drawing people. Fine, you want blue? I'll give you blue. There you go.
More
Just
Metroidvanias.
Huh?
sorry, what were you saying, Master?
More Metroidvanias need some sort of system that allows changes to happen between rooms, enemies migrating through rooms, or something of that sort.
Yeah.
Also, like, shoot, what's the name of that?
Green
The
World,
yeah, Rain World.
exactly. I mean, speaking of Rain World, just having enemy AI that does interesting things and have interactions with each other would be a nice thing to see in more Metroidvanias. Not that it's really necessary for the genre or anything, but
Yeah, like that's one of the things that Zelda does really well is that it has puzzles that extend beyond single rooms, and this like having an AI that goes between rooms is another way that you could do that.
sure. Though if you do that, you have to make sure you uh, convey that enemies moving through the room. Rain World does a great job with that because of how it uses pipes
Mm,
for traversal between rooms.
yeah.
I think there might be some other indicator as well. But yeah, when enemies are coming through pipes into your room, the pipe flashes.
Oh yeah. But yeah, that's like that's the other thing, like the abilities that I was talking about where they do things over a certain distance that also has that thing where multiple rooms can be in play for a given
Yeah.
puzzle. Like I think we've mentioned how much we like the speed booster because of that.
The speed booster is the best upgrade. Just
Yeah.
in any game,
Yep.
it's the best.
And triple jump.
Triple
What
jump
kind of
is
triple jump?
Card Chronicles triple jump. That one like sold me on it. It's like, oh, this is nice.
yeah, there's things that make the movement feel good and then there's also things that like add depth to the movement. And if like those are like the two separate categories where triple jump feels good, but then speed booster like is adds more depth to the game. And something like the speed booster is a little clunky sometimes, which is probably the biggest complaint about it. Especially when you're trying to like do some crazy shine sparks.
Yeah,
2x6.
that's part of the challenge.
Yeah. But yeah, you could combine all those elements where you have like Zelda puzzle box stuff going on along with enemies that go between areas, and then you have abilities that do things over distances, and you can wind up with a puzzle that like goes that has a pretty good amount of complexity to it across rooms.
something that people would definitely hate, but you could do is have like a floating ghost type enemy that travels through walls towards you between rooms in a particular dungeon.
Mhm.
Didn't Zelda
Yeah,
do something like that?
Probably.
I mean there was the hand that followed you everywhere. But it would be interesting to have something like that where like when it passes through a certain type of block, it either like gets rid of it or makes it appear or something like that. And then there's
There's
puzzles that involve that.
Hey.
there's a game there's Metroidvania that does something kind of like that, but describing which game it is would be a spoiler, I guess, because it's one of the last things you do in that game.
Oh. I think if I do you know if I played that game?
Have you? Maybe. Let me think about this. Or Control F, the chat. There's many ways to find out. You may have. Okay, you did play it, but I'm not sure how much of it you played.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that. Okay, I've got
You,
a guess of
I
what
think you
game it
know.
is.
You know.
Does it have a bat in it?
Uh,
Okay, it's not the one I was thinking of.
oh, I'll figure this out.
Well, you can't. We can't like solve me figuring out which game it is if you think that's a spoiler. 'Cause I could conceivably still play it. But yeah, things that go across rooms are generally make for a more interesting. Like I like it when there's like more stuff in play when you're trying to figure out what's going on. It incentivizes you to explore.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, having anything going on beyond your current room it's an additional thing to think about, and I think just that alone adds a lot to certain aspects of a game. I mean,
oh,
imagine if Rain World didn't have enemies migrating between rooms. It'd be completely different with how
yeah.
you approach it. And it'd be a worse game as well.
Hmm. Oh yeah, the other thing is just time-based stuff like Vision Soft Reset and Outer Wilds, where things will happen based on a certain time frame, and that can um make for interesting puzzles too. And I kind of like that the feeling of like you have a certain amount of agency in the world, but then not everything is purely controlled by you, especially towards the beginning of a Metroidvania, where you're
Yeah.
supposed
Yeah.
to not feel as powerful.
I think having the environment do things without your consent is a great way to have that feeling in a game.
But so there are things where it's like something happens and it's based on something that seems completely unrelated to what you were doing, and that I don't like. Um, because then it's like, oh, I explored this area and then I went back and for some reason I can now get through it, whereas I couldn't before, but there's no logical reason why.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it's fine to have things happen that were unexpected, but not like you should know when you've cleared the way forward somewhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's fine if you do something that causes, say, a biome to mutate into something else.
Yeah, as long as it's immediately obvious that okay, I just did this thing that affected everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, no,
And if it's
Seta. Or not Seta. Amber.
and then like if it's like a Zelda puzzle box, then that's the thing where like you change something and then the whole dungeon changes based on that, and you have to solve puzzles based on that. So that that still puts the agency in the player's control.
Also, I figured it out. You did not do the thing I was talking about.
Okay.
You like
And
your
now
new
I'm gonna
pro
have to
tag?
go. It looks pretty cool.
So yeah, go.
Are you
Huh?
are you gonna do the jump and the slash next?
Yeah. Well, jump's very easy in any NES game. All you do
Hmm.
is cut off the waist and then change your legs.
Ah, you're not gonna do the Mega Man jump. I had the like Mega Man jump where he like raises his arms.
I mean, I can try. Here, let me do a new folder in here.
Oh, yeah, and the dash too.
Cauldrath redraws. This is gonna be pro tag. I mean, I could do a walk.
Yeah, it doesn't have a walk. He just slides around everywhere.
Walk cycles suck.
Yeah. So just don't do it.
Too late. Well, the nice thing is, with these ones, usually you can just get away with that. So it just looks like he's using the other foot. Ah, cat fur in my face!
Did your cat discover fire on your face?
No. Nope. No, I want to keep that leg. Delete this leg.
Let's see. We've basically just been discussing puzzles so far.
We've been discussing environmental interactions.
Yeah. Which yeah, that's so I guess there's also like Breath of the Wild style things where it's or BioShock where like you can interact with the environment and it like does it's for more than just puzzle solving. But I, I don't know how much I like physics-based puzzles though. They feel finicky.
They're lame.
All right, so Master not a fan of physics-based puzzles.
I like physics-based puzzles,
they can
depending
be
on what it
fine.
is. Oh, like Portal I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have varying levels of being, finicky. And even a lot of times, there's a focus on the execution of something more
Yeah.
than just figuring out how to do something. Which, I mean, you could say that's a good thing, I guess, but the point of a puzzle is figuring out how to do something. And if you have to do some weirdly precise timing in order to get some physics object to move somewhere else, it's not as satisfying, I think.
It becomes more of an activity than a puzzle.
Sure.
Speed. Let's try that.
He's running.
What frame did not change? That's 200. Oh, none of them did. What more features would I like to see?
I
God.
mean, speaking of environments, I mean, you have environmental storytelling, that's important.
Yes, and
Having those kinds of details in your game.
yeah, And not all games really do them too, sadly.
One thing that's, I mean, I don't think it'd be a priority, but I'd say having one-off rooms is important for making parts of the game feel more unique. Like, I'd say it's a lot more important than having one-off enemies. Having a room where it's just, it does some specific thing that sticks in your mind.
Well, a lot of times that can be an enemy.
I mean, it can, but if it's just a box with a weird enemy, eh.
Like, oh, this is the room with the giant cat. But yeah, I do agree that at least having some way of uniquely marking rooms does make it a lot easier to navigate.
Right, like, you will remember that room, but not... Like, remembering the enemy doesn't mean you remember where it is. Whereas having a unique room, because you're navigating it, I'd say that's easier to remember.
Yeah.
Especially if you have just a really weird, kind of large hubby room that connects several paths together. I'm also thinking more of just weird side rooms with something in them. But for navigation and remembering where you're going, like I'm sure you could, if you think about rooms in Hollow Knight, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
In Hollow Knight, I think of the... Well, just because you were talking about it, I think of the infection. Because you were just talking about it.
Was I?
You were talking about areas that change when you get back to it.
Plenty other games do that. But yeah. When I imagine any room in Hollow Knight, I'm usually thinking of one of the large vertical rooms that serve as kind of a hub of sorts, like I believe it's called the Queen Station. One of the stations.
Well, I
Looks
almost think
similar.
that the hub areas are the ones that it's less important to have the signposting of, because like that's the hub. You know you're
Well,
at the hub. I I think the ones that are like in between. So then like, oh, I ran into this room and there's this statue here that I recognize. Oh wait, I'm not going the right direction, and then you go to a different way.
that's fair. I mean, consider the statue in the City of Tears. Without that, you kind of just have this long horizontal segment, and it'd be less memorable of a place, I suppose.
Yeah.
I already feel like some of the buildings in that place aren't very memorable.
Yeah, they are pretty samey looking, but it kind of makes sense for them to be.
You know, like it's not a problem, it's fine. It's just it's harder for me to picture the buildings in that area and what they look like individually instead of say, I don't know, Green Path. I can imagine the start of Green Path and how it loops around.
Mm. But yeah, I like anything that makes the world easier to navigate without having to pull up the map. Like as much as people talk about liking maps in Metroidvanias, and it's pretty terrible to have a poorly designed level and then not have a map. I prefer it when I feel like I don't need the map.
I agree completely. Well, not every game can reasonably accomplish that though, I think. I mean, it'd be nice, but if you have a game with enough connections between rooms and enough stuff in it, there's no way around needing a map.
Mm, I think if you keep the world small enough and the rooms unique enough, and then so if there's a lot of reasons to backtrack, then you'll build some you'll build more familiarity with the world, so then the
Mhm.
map becomes less necessary in that way as well.
Consider consider Rain World. It's, like, can you imagine navigating that without a map?
I mean, yeah, it would be hard, but most of the rooms look pretty similar in Rain World, at least of what I played.
From what I've played, a lot of rooms either have a unique thing in them or they have some certain, like you move through it a certain way that makes them stand out. Though it is true that a lot of them look visually similar because of, I guess, the biome's design. Everything looks pretty gray and rusty.
Yeah. Right, the simplest way to do something is just like have some sort of unique looking art asset and then throw one in like rooms every once in a while.
Yeah. Just as I was originally going to say, actually, I imagine that's lower on the priority list for people because that's kind of the point where you're adding in superfluous details to the game.
Mhm.
And if your game's not even finished, then it's harder to care about adding
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff into the game, even though that stuff is pretty important for the feel of the game.
Yeah. It's a polish thing. I mean, I I had a boss that's just a square and I changed the colors on it, but
There you go.
like if I was actually going to release a game, I would like try to make unique art assets and then put them like every few rooms.
I feel like there, well, game studios need to hire someone whose job is just adding in random details all over the place, so you
Mm-hmm.
don't
Yeah.
have these generic rooms that nobody's bothered to make look unique.
Yeah. And it's probably something where they wouldn't have to like they it's somebody that can work pretty separately from everyone else, and also like don't need like your highest level artist. You just need someone that can make something.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't actually have to look that great.
I mean, I'd want someone who can think of interesting ideas of, like unique encounters, I guess,
Mhm.
or random neat things that exist in a game. Like, I know people like Symphony of the Night because it has lots of random neat things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's like, if it didn't have all those random neat things, would people really think about it in the same way that they do?
probably not.
No, because they had a lot of shit. Like, one that I'll always remember is the behemoth in the arena, or the Coliseum, from Rondo of Blood. That's where it fell in Rondo. It's there in the arena, dead and bloodied, and you see its body, and it's just randomly in the background. Nothing to do with the story, no one talks about it, nothing, it's just there. But anyone who's played Castlevania or Rondo, they know exactly what it is when they see it.
Mhm.
I could be uh, wrong, but when I think about polishing a game, I don't usually think about that kind of thing. I don't know if that's the same for you guys. Like, do you think about adding in random details when you think of game polish?
Bro, I haven't even built a game.
Well, just the idea of like a game being polished or not. I think more
No,
of,
I think heavily of it
I mean,
because I'm an artist, so that's one of my main priorities. You're coming from a programming stance, so you just want it to work, right? Like that's your main concern?
I guess. I mean, when I think about polish, I'm thinking about how it looks, sure, but I'm not thinking about specifically like environmental details. Like, I'm not thinking about unique rooms. I'm thinking about getting everything working the best that it should be, as well as the
Yeah.
like quality of certain things.
There's lots
like
of
the
different
art.
types of polish.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, if I were to build a game, how it looks and how it plays are my main two concerns. But since I'm also have no background in programming, I kind of tend to stick with things looking decent-ish. Unlike this
Yeah.
sprite, I don't like the fucking head. It's not moving, but I don't know how to make it move properly.
I mean, I also, when I hear polish, I think a lot about performance and bugs and that kind of thing as well. Like, when I think of an unpolished game, I think of a buggy game more than I think of a game that's lacking variety in its one-off rooms.
So a game where you can get soft locked in the first minute of the game.
Yeah.
Ah! Hire me to be your bug tester. I will do it, and I will do it well. Like, I like everything about this for the most part, minus the head.
Hmm.
I'm the kind of person who rubs my character all over random walls to see what will happen in video games.
Yeah. I mean, you play Metroidvanias. You play La Milana. That's pretty much mandatory.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When I'm playing any random video game, sometimes people will watch me play the game and they'll ask me what in the world I'm doing. Because I just
Checking for secret
part,
areas.
part of the way I play games is I just rub myself on random objects and see if anything happens. Like trying to break the game. Which often does happen. It happens a concerning amount in games that are supposed to be polished. AAA games. You just jump into a corner and then you fall through the map. It's like, oh. I mean, who would think to jump into this random corner besides me? But, you know, it still shouldn't happen.
Well, open world games, even if they're AAA, usually have that amount of jank. It's really hard to polish. Like they try to make a giant world, and then polishing all of that is pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Which maybe they shouldn't make such big worlds. Like,
But Daggerfall was 16 miles. Or fucking, yeah, no, not Daggerfall. Skyrim was 16 miles. Daggerfall was the size of Great Britain. Why can't they do that again?
Yeah.
the question is whether they should do that again.
It would be
Just make
interesting.
I really like the idea of how Daggerfall like approaches that, even though from a gameplay standpoint it's completely uninteresting. And of course it's just a way to do procedural generation. But I like that, like, when you have procedurally generated games nowadays, it's always, oh, this dungeon's walls are shifting every time I enter it. Man, this is real spooky. But having a large map and then picking to go to some arbitrary place, or even having, you know, once you go to a place, it generates and remains that way. I think that's a more interesting way to do procedural generation, I guess.
what is this you're drawing now?
Well, you know how that boss hops around the room?
Yeah.
I kind of got its image of a spider.
I guess that works.
Well,
This
what
doesn't
did you
line up
have in
with my
mind again?
artistic vision.
I was thinking like some sort of like lightning elemental that like shoots lightning bolts at you and dashes around.
Alright, well then we're gonna start with the little ball boy.
But you could do a spider lightning elemental.
That's too late. We're gonna fucking Genshin this shit.
I'm imagining kind of like a steampunky robot with a Tesla coil inside of it. Because you were talking about the gears and
Oh
that,
yeah,
yeah.
like it being like a steampunky room would kind of match with a boss being kind of steampunky. So what's the steampunk represent representation of like a fast dash, like rockets or something?
I would say steam-powered thrusters on your back.
Hmm. That seems right.
Lightning elemental, eh? Yep.
Or we could do a robot, like a
No,
steampunk robot.
it's too late. I got ideas. I gotta plug in my art tablet though. Ha!
So what kinds of enemies can you have roaming around between rooms, and how would you implement that
Oh no.
in a way that's fair? I mean, Rain World, as we mentioned, I think it does a great job. And I'm not sure, but in a game that's not Rain World, I'm not sure how it would function. You know?
I mean, there's also like the Resident Evil remake games where you like hunted the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, but Dread has enemies.
Yeah,
Do those work in kind of that way?
kind of, but they're limited in to just a few rooms. And they kind of are like
Hey.
technically they do like go between rooms, but it feels more like
Oh.
they just have like scripted paths within a room. So it doesn't feel like they're like they exist as an intra-room entity. It's just like you went into this room and now the enemy's there and it does its thing in that room.
I mean, I guess a big thing as well is feeling like a game isn't scripted. That makes since like the entities in Rain World are their own entities that wander around and decide what to do, and that is a lot different than having giving an AI specific path to follow, and then they walk back and forth on that path, which is probably what would happen if you didn't have much creativity and wanted to put enemies that traverse rooms into a game.
Well, there is something to be said for simplistic AI in that it's predictable, and then having a predictable AI is better for making a puzzle.
Yeah, I agree. Not everything. Like, people say that they like good AI, but then good AI knows where they are and kills them, and
Yeah.
then like imagining stealth games. If stealth games actually had realistic AI, you would not have fun playing it because you'd be laying in a bush for 2 hours or
Yeah.
something.
They're like also the monsters don't have to necessarily be like after you at all times. Like it could just be like something's wandering around and they have their own reasons for doing things that have nothing to do with you.
Yeah, that is that is something that you wouldn't need to you wouldn't need to have some Rain World AI for that. It could still all be very scripted, but it would still feel a lot more interesting having enemies wander around and do things unrelated to you.
Yeah, I think that would make it seem more real. Like the in Rain World, they would also like eat things that weren't you.
Yeah, or just purely visual things like the enemies that crawl along the ground. Instead of just endlessly crawling in a direction, they could stop and burrow, or dig around in the ground, look for some food, I guess.
Mhm.
And that wouldn't really change what they do. They still just crawl around on the ground, but it would make them feel more like creatures that exist and not walking hitboxes.
Yeah, and then like maybe it's just like some mushrooms that are wander around, and then like you can jump on their heads and it bounces you really high, and so you have to like try to figure out how to get them to go to the place that you need them to be for you to like use that.
Yeah. Guess part of it. Ow, I just hurt my back somehow.
Stop it.
Oh, that destroyed my train of thought.
Sorry.
You didn't do anything. My back just
Are you sure?
cracked in a strange way.
Oh, Twilight Zone shit right there.
Like, I disagree, Master. Back broken.
Wings are hard.
Hmm.
Yeah, so you don't even necessarily need to have enemies that interact with each other in special ways. Just having those, I guess those small details still contributes to the same type of experience.
Hmm.
Though, another thing, I think having creatures that aren't hostile towards you initially or even at all is a good idea. I mean, you have like the passive enemies wandering around that damage you, as you know, like the same ones we were talking about. Those aren't really hostile, those just wander and they don't care that you're in front of them.
Yeah.
But I guess for one, you don't give everything contact damage. Some players feel safe to
Yeah.
have things walk past them.
Hmm.
I hate.
Because if you assume everything has contact damage, then you're not going to want to walk past or touch anything.
It's fine
Yeah.
to a degree. I feel like bosses are a fine thing. But when everything has contact damage, it's just like, wow.
If you have like a gigantic enemy, I mean, it's fine that they have contact damage, I guess, because it's awkward having... It could be awkward having them do animations for hitting you when you're right in front of them.
Yeah, like Death's Gambit didn't have contact damage for the bosses, but it also didn't have like collision. Or I guess it had some, but you could still walk through them.
Yeah.
And that made a lot of their attacks like not very effective because you could like stand directly on top of them and then they'd do an attack and that would have like a lunge part to it. So they'd wind up just like lunging off of you and just completely missing you.
Unless they decide to do some terrible hitboxes on the attack and they, even though you're behind them, they still hit you.
Yeah.
I
So
think... Oh,
I
sorry,
think
go
a
ahead.
good compromise for larger bosses is to have collision with them, but not collision damage.
Yeah. I mean, of course, there are some bosses where parkouring on them is part of the boss, so you need collision for that.
Yeah. Yeah, there needs to be more Shadow of the Colossus style bosses in other games.
It is kind of weird that more games don't try to do that. You think it'd be a trope by now.
Yeah, like it was also in Castlevania Lords of Shadows, and like that was about it.
You have Super Metroid Kraid, he's large. You have a couple Castlevania bosses.
Like you don't climb
You have
all
that
over them.
god-awful, spoilers for Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. The final boss in that game, where you have to like parkour up to hit their weak spot on their head.
Yeah, but you're
Also
on
hit their other weak
platforms. You're
spots.
not actually touching the boss. It's platforms.
Well, I mean, you're not touching Kraid.
That's true.
You're touching the things he shoots out, I guess. But I'm just talking about large bosses and not specifically bosses you're climbing on. Though I guess, you know, that is the whole point of Shadow of the Colossus, climbing on the boss.
Yeah. But a lot of times you'll see like a game has like as their core mechanic something, and then if it's done well, then other games start adopting it, and it's just like each game will have like one boss that does that thing because it's just like part of the vocabulary of bosses now.
Maybe the reason why we like these underused tropes is because they're underused, and if every game did them, then they wouldn't be interesting.
Yeah. It's probably something that's very easy to do poorly and also requires like a lot of systems.
I'm
Like if
just
you're just like jumping on like platforms along a boss, that's like pretty normal. But then actually climbing on the boss, you have to like implement that whole climbing system.
Yeah.
But
I'm imagine
like Zelda Breath of the Wild could have had a boss that you climbed on top of.
you could climb on the rock dudes.
Yeah, but that's like one mini boss.
Yeah. That game could have done a lot more than it did. Imagine if you had Shadow of the Colossus bosses for the Divine Beasts or something.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
It'd already be a lot more interesting than what's in the game. Even if it was just 4 of Shadow of the Colossus ripoff bosses. I was saying something, and now I don't remember what it was.
Got us on Shadow of the Colossus.
I've never played that game.
That's a good game.
Alright, I was gonna... So, imagine a world where a second phase after a boss was extremely rare. I can imagine me saying, wow, it's so cool when games do the surprise second phase to a boss. I wish more games did that.
Yeah.
Though part of that is because of its its effectiveness is partially because of its surprise. So
Mhm.
maybe that's not the best example because you don't really need to be surprised by a colossal boss to have an interesting colossal boss. You don't need to be surprised by a second phase of a boss for it to be interesting either, but
Well, if you're just considering very large bosses to be what Shadow of the Colossus did, then like Dark Souls games do a lot of those.
yeah, they've got larger bosses, certainly.
But yeah, there's also the mechanics of climbing on a boss. So I wonder,
In
yeah, it might just be that they decided that it's easier to just implement them that way, where they don't have new mechanics for it.
as I'm sure people think that as cool as something would be, it's too much work to make that when it's a one-off encounter and it
Yeah.
requires new mechanics. Though you can also, if you introduce new mechanics just for one encounter, uh, that could have some issues as well, like the mechanics being underwhelming. Because I mean, are you really going to make like you're not going to add in Celeste platforming just for one boss? That's I tried to make an example there and it was very poor, but I think you know what I mean. Because if you have one single time when you use a mechanic, it's harder to justify pouring time into it to make it as polished as possible.
I've seen a few games that have like for the final boss just introduced something new out of the blue, like the
Yeah.
original Devil May Cry, Cathedral for the during its final boss. There's like a section that's you're doing something you've never done before. Like soldiers, like in that the like last boss you um like it introduces a new mechanic.
Oh,
Cats are.
that's not good.
Apparently, it's not too big of an issue.
No, it's not. They're cats.
That's that's what they're there for.
Pretty much. That second wind kill me.
Thinking, what are the largest Dark Souls bosses? It has the Dark Souls 3 encounter that's not really a boss fight.
Bed of Chaos is pretty big.
Yeah.
I remember there was a dragon
I mean,
in the and Demon Souls.
3D, 3-dimensional games tend to incorporate larger bosses, though.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about, every Resident Evil clone probably has a giant monster at some point.
Yeah, it's a common trope.
It's 2D games where you don't see it as often, I think. And of course, being able to climb them is not something you see in either.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any games that have like actual like climbing mechanics, not just like wall jumping.
Yeah, I mean, you've got games that do quick time events where you climb something. But
Yeah.
like part of I don't know, I haven't played much of Metal Gear Rising, but I'm sure there's plenty of moments in that game where you're jumping and climbing on a boss during a quick time event.
Oh yeah, and quick time events. It's mostly like you're like jumping around and they're jumping around and you like clash swords with each other.
Isn't the first boss in Metal Gear Rising like something large you climb on? That's what I'm thinking of.
It's been a long time since I played that game.
Yeah, it is. It's a big ol' mech. And
Don't you
it's
start out like fighting a Metal Gear Rex or something like that?
something like that. I've never been a particularly huge Metal Gear fan or anything, nor have I really cared about giant robots ever.
Hmm.
But I've always liked Metal Gear Rex.
Is it cute?
It is cute.
Alright. Yeah, I played most of the Metal Gear games and like a lot of the mechanics I'm not a big fan of, but I don't know. There's just something weird about the games.
Yeah. Yeah, they're interesting games to play, certainly. Oh, interesting games to see.
Yeah, one of those like iconic game series that it's worth playing even if you don't like it, just to know what it's about.
Worth playing even if you don't really care about playing a stealth game,
Yeah,
just to experience the strange narrative and other decisions made within the game.
right.
Nice speech there, Senator, but what's your source? My source is that I made it the fuck up.
I mean, yeah, Metal. What did Kojima even do for Rising?
For
I
what?
don't think I don't think he
Oh,
was
for
as
Horizon.
involved. So
Yeah, I think I remember seeing somebody say that he wasn't involved, but they like try to copy the same like campy weird style.
right, and that's like when I consider Metal Gear Rising kind of separate from the Kojima charm. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because of that, but they're still both wacky in their own ways.
Yeah.
Uh, is it wrong to say that more games should be kind of wacky?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of games take themselves too seriously.
That's the thing though. You can have your game take itself seriously while also being wacky. Like you're allowed to do that. I mean, Metal Gear games certainly take themselves seriously at times. They're even though they have weirdness in them, you're still invested in playing the game.
Mm. They still have like somewhat of a political message.
Well, sure, they have that, and also just, I mean, like, generally, people I've talked to always, like, they care about the story and the characters to a degree. I mean, playing, like, Metal Gear, I know that want to just say, I know that people generally think this, but from my knowledge, I believe that people really like Metal Gear 3, Metal Gear Solid 3, and the story told within that game.
Yeah, it's yeah, it is kind of a one where the main character does change a bit, of course, like across the course of it. There's actual character development. Whereas I feel like most of the in original Metal Gear Solid, Snake's basically the same person
Yeah.
afterwards.
The first Metal Gear just feels like a really strange movie that you just watched that maybe wasn't translated properly or something.
Yeah.
So I've played the first one, I've played 3, I've played some of 5, and I didn't get that feeling when I played 3.
Yeah, I almost feel like 3 wasn't really about Snake as much as it was about other characters and like their relationships with him.
Sure, I mean, it introduces Ocelot, who's very important for one thing, introduces other concepts because it's a prequel, and then you have the whole boss thing.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that games should just start whiplashing you tonally or adding inappropriate jokes into serious scenes, but it's fine to just have some weird concept and say, well, this is just a thing.
Yeah.
I suppose I'm getting to that point where I'm saying many abstract words and it's hard to convey meaning.
Yeah, I think I understood you.
Also because I haven't played all that much Metal Gear, so I can't really think of particular examples.
Yeah, I haven't played one since 4, so it's been a long time since. Or actually, Revengeance came out after 4, didn't it? I played both of those pretty much when they came out.
I've
Yeah.
never played a Metal Gear.
Oh man.
See, while I would take the main Metal Gear Solid game seriously, I don't feel compelled to do that with Metal Gear Rising.
It doesn't take itself very seriously either.
No. Like, all the memes about that game, man. All the memes.
Well, memes are always like an exaggerated version of reality.
Yeah,
Not when
they're always
those
silly.
memes are literally just direct rips from the game.
Have you heard any of the... Oh, that's the example. A lot of just the really weird dialogue that you get.
Yeah. That's
Because
why that quote I
even in
did
the first
was,
game,
yeah.
well, yeah, no, I'm talking about just in all the Metal Gear games.
Oh.
When you call someone on your phone and someone just has a really weird thing to say to you.
Well, a lot of that is like you can repeatedly call people. So like the first time you call them, they'll like give you some like actual useful information. But then when you just keep calling them, there's only so much information they can give you. So they just like start giving backstory or amusing anecdotes.
Mhm.
I guess that's kind of like the messenger is when you're talking
Yeah.
to the shopkeeper.
Or trying to open up the fucking cabinet.
Yeah, I mean calling. Well, I think it's a bit different than just like, oh, push the red button to get new new dialogue every time, because a lot of it would be context sensitive,
Hmm.
where you're in a very specific situation and you decide, I'm gonna call this character right now, and they might have something to say about the particular thing that you're doing. Or, that people aren't always available to call throughout the game either. Different
Or they're
characters will appear or disappear.
it would be like funny if you could like force through the line, like they're like in the middle of a firefight and you're just calling them about some stupid thing.
You're
It's
in the
calling the
middle of a
person.
fight. What are you doing? Well, I just needed some help on my taxes. Yeah, I know you're really good with your taxes. What do you
I mean,
mean?
yeah, you do call people in the middle of a firefight
Yeah.
in Metal Gear.
Well, I mean, when
That's-
they're in the middle of a firefight.
Oh.
You should. I want to be able to call the boss that I'm currently fighting.
Oh yeah.
Which doesn't sound like it's out of place. And now I kind of wonder if it's possible in some of the games.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times you don't actually have the boss's codex like
Well,
frequency.
no. There's one example I can think of, and I don't remember if that person is still callable after a certain thing happens, though. There is a time where you call and you talk to an enemy. And I refuse to spoil this very old game. Or maybe it's a new game. I never told you which Metal Gear it was.
I mean, you told us which Metal Gear you played, so we can kind of assume which one.
How do you know I just didn't see a YouTube clip of it?
Because
And
it
that's
sounded
why I
like you
wouldn't
were
know if you
talking
could call
about
them or not.
some like first-hand experience, honestly.
If it was first-hand experience, would I really not know if I could? You know how I'm always messing around in games. Surely I would have called the enemy if I was able to call the enemy
Maybe not.
the time when I was fighting them.
No, I don't think you did.
Anyways.
But it is 11:32 now.
It is. Not done with.
You also didn't do the dash or the jump, so I
Well,
can't
no,
even
we were
put in
talking
the...
about Lightning Boss, so I started Lightning Boss. Fucking another fruit fly on my window. Or not my window, my screen. I think they've
Well,
infected my plants.
are you running Windows? If it
Yeah.
is, then that is a window.
Yeah, it is. I was thinking of my my A-Sprite window, not my actual window.
Hmm. So are we gonna keep going until you finish Lightning Bird?
No, Lightning Bird's gonna take a while, sadly.
Okay.
I wish, but Lightning Bird still has a ways to go before it looks decent.
Well, what else did we not talk about that we should have talked about today?
I had a list.
A lot of stuff.
Did you look at the list?
No. Features we have seen or would like to see in world design aspects, core mechanics, setting, vibe, visual direction.
We kind of glazed over all of those a little bit.
A little bit.
So I guess we'll just have more for another day.
This will be your miscellaneous
Yeah.
talk. And
There
we
you
can't
go.
think of anything else to talk about.
Well, I'm just trying to keep us from going too long.
Yeah.
Yes, it is about time that we bid farewell to the 3 people watching this video.
4. Well, I don't know how many of those are you guys watching the stream.
Some. Not really, but... So, for those of you who are watching or listening later, good night.
Have a nice night.
Good night.